Now we get to the truly nasty stuff, or we're starting to get onto that path. This next story I'm very conflicted about um, because it's it's the pro-choice people trying to find a way to come together to a degree with the pro-life people and then pick apart that position. In other words, they're trying to move the goalpost, and I don't really agree with that. But let me read it. Let me make my opinions about it, see what you guys feel on this subject here. Um, Obviously, I don't believe in late-term abortions unless it's absolutely medically necessary, and I stand by where abortion laws are right now. I don't agree with making it outlawed because you don't get it, pro-lifers. You really don't. You make this illegal, it's not going to stop what you consider to be baby murdering, even when it's early term abortions, the earliest term of all. You don't even care about contraception because that's pre-murder of pre-life, and you don't care about what would reduce abortions at all. You care more about slut shaming amongst other things because part of your movement is about the idea that women are using abortion as contraception, that people can go into a clinic multiple times, have the fetus, I'm sorry, as you want to call it, the baby, vacuum sucked out and killed, just so she doesn't have to stop her promiscuous ways. Because, yeah, the only reason to some of you out there why women get abortions is because they're sluts. Never mind the medical necessity. Never mind the rapes. I've already talked at great length about my disgust at the fact that you guys, a lot of you out there, want to strip a doctor of his license because he did what was not just necessary but ethical, and aborted the baby of a mentally ill 10-year-old girl who was raped by her uncle. Oh, I suppose that was a gift from God too, wasn't it? Oh, I suppose that was just the sex that this 10-year-old didn't know she wanted, right? Right? Yeah, 'cause she had a choice in that, didn't she? Yeah, her uncle rapist gave her a choice, and that slutty 10-year-old girl, she took advantage of that, right? Right? You act as if there's no gray area. Life is a life is a life, period. Then something like this comes along and you see no problem with stripping a doctor who gave a Hippocratic oath and stuck to it to take away his license for doing his job. And you wonder why I'm disgusted with your position, not to mention what I already know about prohibition of abortion and how horrendous, horrific, and terrible that was, the blight that it was on this country. So let me try to read this. I'm sorry, I'm a little out of sorts tonight, but this just... Yeah, life begins at conception. So what? Mary Elizabeth Williams says that not all life is equal. I would put that life of a mother over the life of a fetus every single time, even if I still need to acknowledge my convictions that the fetus is indeed a life worth sacrificing. That's a quote from Mary from her full article. It's time for abortion rights supporters stops dancing around it. Life begins at conception, argues Mary Elizabeth at Salon. Well, yes and no. See, because part of why I dislike this, I don't avoid it, I just think that it's a mentally devoid topic, because then suddenly the fertilized egg becomes a full-grown baby worthy of all human rights, and to abort that or even use a morning after pill to kill those cells should have you strung up and thrown in prison for murder. There are people who are that fanatical and who are that disgusting about this topic. They want you investigated if you have a miscarriage because they think that some shenanigans are going on there. And some of these people are women who should understand the inner workings of the human female body enough to know that there's so many things that could impact a person being able to carry a baby full term. But no, no. If it's not birthed, it's murder, and the person should be shamed and thrown in jail, full stop. I don't like this because this isn't a sentient. Is it alive? Yeah. And I guess in a way I'm kind of agreeing with this author on some points, but it has no mind, it has no thoughts, it has no ability to have a consciousness of itself, it has no organs, it cannot breathe without the mother, it cannot breathe and to be able to develop into a fetus and then eventually into a baby without the mother. It is essentially a parasitic organism. And we're not crying foul if somebody pulls a leech off of their body. We're not crying foul when somebody burns a tick off of their body, and on and on and on. I guess in a way this is how you argue that a cluster of cells, a fertilized egg, and even to a degree a fetus, is not the same as a full-grown baby, which is certainly something that I've been advocating for because people do want to push it. They want to push it so far beyond conception, personhood, that they want to make it to where even such things as male masturbation is abortion, and that we should go to prison for that because we've murdered countless sperm by coming on something that's other than of female vagina, because let's face it, they're not exactly going to be too keen on you being homosexual and wasting your seed in a man's butt if you happen to be another man, or not having any seed enter you at all if you happen to be a lesbian. But okay, staying on topic, I'm sorry. Argues Mary Elizabeth Williams at Salon. Throughout my own pregnancies, I never wavered from the moment, for a moment in the belief that I was carrying a human life inside of me, she writes, and that doesn't make me one iota less solidly pro-choice. Indeed, Planned Parenthood now eschews the pro-choice/pro-life terminology altogether. The Williams think that's long overdue. Is a long overdue move. It only strengthens the abortion opponents when we squirm so uncomfortably at the way in which they repeatedly appropriated the concept of life. I haven't squirmed though. That I kind of, again, I'm at odds with the author here. I didn't squirm at it. I just don't see a reason for it, because saying an embryo is a human being is the same thing as saying that then an egg is a chicken. And I don't like that because we already have vegetarians trying to say that an egg is meat because of its iron content, because of its protein, which is the same as meat, but that's not meat. There's no sinew. There's no flesh. There's nothing that is an actual meat cell there. There's pre-meat, but you cannot call that meat. You cannot, just as you cannot call an egg a chicken. It does not work that way. And I'm bothered because, yes, as the article talks about semantics, we can go back and forth, lines in the sand, this, that, and that, but I'm just like, we're destroying concrete concepts and introducing abstract concepts in an effort to try to disarm our opponents, but at the same time, how does this really take away that idea? Because then if we both come into this discussion saying that conception is the start of life, or that life begins at conception, then what's to stop them from further pushing that envelope with those semantics and saying that a fertilized egg is a full-grown person, and to destroy that egg in any way, shape, or form constitutes murder. Link is down in the other bar to the article. Love to know what you guys think on this. You've heard what I think on it. I think it's not really the best of moves, but there may be an angle to this I'm not quite seeing. But I'm going to keep an eye on this article and see if my mind changes over time.